Alright, so World of Warcraft's Forgotten Secrets. It's for the FBI somehow used World of Warcraft to find and kill Osama bin Laden. That's crazy.
As well as like some other terrorist organizations, as well as other illegal activities. They basically used it as like a psyop to find people doing illegal shit.
You think they'd be doing that with League of Legends instead? Because there's a lot more legal shit going on there.
I'm sure they did both.
Be smart to. Be dumb not to.
Wasn't planning on making this, folks. However, to say that the last week has been an unexpected surprise would be an understatement. For the last month or so, I've been busy on my real-life channel, talking about important topics such as Hungarian elections and house prices. You know, as you do. But I couldn't help but notice that this channel had almost doubled in subscribers in a single day.
No, man, I wonder what happened.
To over 17,000 at the time of recording. Needless to say, I was quite surprised as I hadn't made anything here in over a month. Leaving me very confused and left asking, who are you people?
Just appreciate it.
Who are you people?
In a desperate attempt to find out where you all came from, I decided to have a look at my analytics, and I noticed that a video I made almost a year ago now had received a sudden increase in views of 2,100%.
Damn.
When I saw the top comment, I knew immediately what had happened.
Oh, that's...
You know, folks,
that's
it's a very strange experience to watch someone watch you, who you've been watching.
Jesus 0.5, just, there you go.
The cockroach king.
Yep.
For a long time. Back in the day, I was a massive WoW achievement hunter, the sort of player who just had to get everything. I first discovered Asmongold around 2015, as he used to create by far the most straightforward and easy to follow achievement guides that there were available. Now, I don't use Twitch, mostly as I find Twitch chat to be the most annoying thing mankind has ever invented.
Pog-champ!
However, I can't...
Jesus Christ.
Pog-champ.
I'm glad Pog died.
Really?
Yeah, I'm glad PogChamp died.
It was so funny.
It was annoying, personally. The only time it was funny is when someone did it and then they get made fun of for that. That was the only time.
I just thought it was so funny with, like, the... What do you call it? To use it ironically.
I guess. I'm eating cookies right now, by the way.
Ooh, what kind? The ones you were having before?
Yeah, and I still have some. I got like 3 left. Yeah. Alright.
Can't deny that, clearly, it's a very popular platform. And so, much like how I have to thank Asmongold for helping me get the Glory of the Firelands Raider achievement at 5 o'clock in the morning 7 years ago, I also have to thank him for bringing what would have been yet another forgotten production of mine in front of over 500,000 people. Truth be told, I had completely forgotten all about this video. It was just a bit of creative writing I made out of frustration. I was, and still am, baffled to see it receive such a positive response. From Urban Dictionary definitions to German news articles. Yeah, it's been very interesting to read all your comments, as well as see the Google Trends spike for the SoCal Lady Killer. However, this whole thing has admittedly put me in a bit of an awkward situation. You see, over the last few days, I've been inundated with request after request to make more creepypastas, just like Stone Talon. And
Did you ever get obsessed with creepypastas while growing up? Because I did.
Oh, a lot. I used to listen to Creeps McPasta, Mr. Creepypasta, like read stories. I would go on r/no-sleep all the time and read shit.
Yeah, I don't know who I watched, but there was a lot of creepypasta videos I just watched. It was fun.
Yeah. I would do that while I was going to bed.
Yeah. No better time
Use
to do
it as
that.
like ASMR.
Yeah, no better other time to do that.
my response to that is...
Now my ASMR to go in the bed is just playing Pokemon playthroughs on my TV. Lot more helpful than you think, believe it or not.
No. You see, the reason why you enjoyed Stone Talon wasn't just because of the writing, but simply because you didn't know whether it was true or not. Had I told you the truth right at the start, you would have all Alt F4'd out of there in Guinness World Record time. Make no mistake, I could easily write a ton more stories like it. The Butcher of Badlands, the Rapist of Redridge, the Murderer of Loch Madan. But it simply wouldn't be the same. As deep down,
you would
know the truth.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I don't even play WoW anymore. Which I'm pretty sure doesn't really require an explanation.
Yeah.
No.
Seeing what was once my favourite game, community, and company devolve into the absolute disgrace that it is today is something that, frankly...
Blizzard fell off so fucking bad, man.
I've
especially whenever they became Activision Blizzard too, like, Jesus Christ.
Activision Blizzard was in 2008.
Yeah, isn't it still going?
Yes and no. Bobby Kotick no longer is.
Oh, they finally kicked his ass out?
Yeah, because they're owned by Microsoft now.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, about time they kicked him out. Because even after all that crazy shit about him came out, he was still there for a bit, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well, good thing he's
There's even a boss that is inspired after him, and in the newest raid that is out right now.
I thought you were about to say the new CEO was inspired by him, like he was his hero or something. Jesus.
No. Like, Blizzard literally made a boss that is inspired off of Bobby Kotick.
That's... Yeah, I actually think I might have heard of something like that before. I'm not too sure. Yeah. But, I mean, hey...
He's just a fat goblin.
No.
Who's greedy.
I mean, it's fitting. What's his...
it really is.
What's his special attack? Grabby hands?
No, he has a mech and he has people do all this shit for him.
It's like what would happen if someone made an EDP boss. It'd just be a fat giant grape that throws cupcakes at you. Yeah.
What's with the cupcake thing with that?
It's cause,
I know.
It's because whenever he showed up in the Chris Hansen style Sting op they had for him, he said, "I'm just here to pick up a cupcake," and then got memed into oblivion.
Okay.
Yeah, because like, yeah, you came all the way over here just to pick up a cupcake. Yeah, sure.
Rather forget about entirely. And can you really blame me? However, even if I have no plans to ever return back to WoW, I feel as if I can't just simply ignore...
Is this Roblox? Is this Roblox WoW?
No, this is classic WoW. This is what it came out in 2004.
Okay, well, I don't know about World of Warcraft, so yeah.
All of your kind words. So, I wanted to make something for you all as a thank you. Consider it a sort of one-off, bowing out gift for all you WoW heads. Now, as I said, this isn't a creepypasta, but instead, a rabbit hole. I said that Stone Talon was WoW's darkest secret, but truth be told, there is actually a real darkest secret about World of Warcraft that I have never seen anyone else even talk about. In fact, it's been out in the open now for years, and yet seemingly passed everyone by. Perhaps it's not so much a dark secret, but a forgotten secret. I know, you're skeptical. So, without further ado, go into full screen mode and let me explain.
God, that face on this dude, like, incest baby, Jesus Christ.
It's a gnome.
A
gnome.
Oh, that makes sense. Yep, that's...
Yeah.
That's, oh no, I was thinking of elves versus dwarf racism, not gnomes. Then again, I imagine they'd be just as racist towards gnomes as they are to each other.
Yes.
Yeah, especially this
There's a lot of elf racism in this game.
Oh, makes sense. Probably a lot of dwarf racism as well.
Not really.
Oh.
You'd be surprised.
Well, damn. Alright, well, I don't know then.
As this
if anything, it's just midgets making fun of midgets, though, so yeah.
Time, it's real. Oh, and, folks... Try not to tab out this time, will ya?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yep.
This got real serious all of a sudden.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
It's about the government, bro.
Yeah, makes sense. Is that dude jerking off?
I don't know. His mouth was wide open. Oh.
Okay. Well.
Oh yeah, 9/11.
Yeah. Oh Jesus.
9/11.
Yep.
The Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York were destroyed in a terrorist attack.
Yep. Thanks, George. You
Days later, President George Bush announces the beginning of the
George Soros.
Whatever. Well, I'm just so used to people blaming George Soros for everything.
Well, we can blame
now,
him
bro.
too. We can blame him too. Cause, well, yeah.
War on Terror, with the aim of bringing those responsible to justice. During this time, President Bush's approval rating was around 90%, an unprecedented high in American politics.
And also passed the
The
Patriot
people
Act.
were angry and wanted revenge. 10 years later in 2011, President Barack Obama formally announces the death of the leader
Barack Obama. Jesus.
of Al-Qaeda,
Love the pronunciation.
Osama bin Laden.
Al-Qaeda.
With the news of this announcement, the American people and their allies around the world celebrated.
Yeah, I remember
After
when that
10
happened.
long years, it seemed that this war on terror was finally...
Yeah, like I was just going to school one day, and then, you know, my mom told me that they caught the guy who did 9/11 and killed him, and I was like, oh, neat. And then I went to school.
Yeah. Yeah, I found out about it, and then I think a month later, PlayStation Network went down or something.
Okay, then.
That's how I remember it.
Alrighty, then.
about to come to an end.
Yeah.
But it didn't. The modus operandi of American foreign policy had changed from merely eliminating potential terrorist threats into what became known as nation building, with the aim of transforming countries in the Middle East from being dictatorships into being democracies. Afghanistan, which went from being under the sole rule of the Taliban to now having its own elections, being a prime example of such a transformation. During this
That aged poorly, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
God, I didn't know we were gonna get too. I don't know how political this is gonna get. I don't want to get too deep into it, you know.
Yeah, we don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah, well, try and keep it to a minimum. Yeah.
time,
Yeah,
the
this
American
is,
public's attitude to war deeply started to sour. In their eyes, if it truly was mission accomplished, then why was the government still spending trillions of taxpayer dollars fighting such overseas wars when their own people at home were struggling?
Yeah.
10 more years later in 2021, and the war on terror would ceremoniously come to a close. Yet perhaps not in the way that many thought it would. Within hours of the US military leaving Afghanistan,
he actually brings it
the
up. I
Taliban
forgot.
had once again seized control within hours. The failure of trying to forcefully change a nation's foundations so radically were now on full display for the world to see.
Yep.
The war on terror was a tragedy for almost everyone involved, with thousands of lives needlessly lost, trillions of dollars spent in vain, and an entire part of the world now destabilized beyond comprehension. For many of us who grew up during the 2000s and 2010s, it somewhat goes without saying that such events have foreshadowed our entire lives. But a question you're probably asking yourselves is, what the hell does this have to do with World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Well, a lot more than you might think, actually.
Surprisingly, yeah.
I'm about to find out.
1 month after 9/11, on October 26, 2001, President George Bush implemented what became colloquially known as the Patriot Act. In its own words, this was an act to deter and punish terrorist acts in the United States and across the globe.
Crazy how you need an act to do that whenever it should just be common sense and just go kill a terrorist that does shit like that, you know?
There's a lot of stuff in this act that restricts freedoms that we used to have.
Oh, so it was just basically like a front, basically. Like whenever they make like a bill or an act where it sounds good, like where it sounds good, but then you read the thing and it's like, oh, this actually isn't as good.
Yeah, so this is what Snowden, if you've ever watched that movie.
No, I haven't.
Snowden is basically a traitor to the U.S. / a patriot, depending on who you ask.
Oh, okay.
Where he exposed that the U.S. was spying on its citizens through.
Well, to be honest, that's not too surprising.
Yeah,
but yeah, like NSA and probably, yeah. But yeah, that's. But yeah, they do that all the time with stuff. Like, they get introduced something that sounds good. Like, they said, it's going to do this good thing. Then it goes in here, and it says, it will also restrict this and this on that good thing we're going to do. Yeah, we're actually not even going to do that.
Yeah, we're not even going to do that anymore.
They just name it something good, but then you read it. It's just, yeah, wolf in sheep's clothing.
And to enhance law enforcement investigatory tools. When the Patriot Act was first passed, most people didn't think anything of it. After all, at the time, America had just been attacked, and in many people's eyes, if the government was going to do something about it, then that could only be a good thing.
Yeah.
But the sudden combination of this blind trust, hunger for revenge, and sudden rise in patriotism created an almost perfect environment for opportunistic bureaucrats to expand their palette of powers. And that's exactly what they did via the Patriot Act. The first half of the Patriot Act, to deter and punish terrorist acts, was obviously most effective and required. However, the second half, consisting of enhancing law enforcement investigatory tools, would turn out to be much more sinister than it was presented.
Sounds like it.
The US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand comprise the vast majority of the English-speaking Western world. Being strongly culturally and economically interlinked, these nations tend to cooperate much more with one another than what would usually be the case. One of these means of cooperation is in the form of intelligence, whereby they form what is known as the Five Eyes, an intelligence alliance that behind the scenes works together with one another to achieve their mutual aims. As you may remember, back in 2013, a man known as Edward Snowden would quit his job in American intelligence and flee to Russia for asylum, whereby there he would reveal a bombshell beyond belief. Snowden disclosed an estimated 15,000 classified Australian intelligence files, 60,000 classified...
I gotta turn this down because I can hardly hear you when you're talking.
British intelligence files, and a staggering 1.7 million classified American intelligence files. And to say that these files were damning would be an understatement. The English-speaking Western nations, who so proudly proclaim themselves to be the so-called free world, had, behind the curtain, created a dystopian surveillance system that even rivaled that of China.
Jesus.
Now, I'd be here all day if I was to go into everything that such files revealed, such as the PRISM program, whereby, according to leaked slides, large American corporations, such as Microsoft and Apple, had seemingly agreed to become
YouTube,
providers,
Skype,
whereby they hand intelligence agencies information about their customers, such as emails, chats, videos, photos, data, and much, much more. All such companies officially deny such involvement, even to this day, mind you, so I'll leave it up to you on who you want to believe.
Yeah, of course they would, because...
But there's files and proving that they did, but you know, whatever.
They're just... That's just their strat. Deny, 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 and just...
Hope that it goes away.
It won't. It won't. It's the internet. The internet doesn't forget. Like, hell, here we are right now. So,
talking about it.
Yep.
But as stated, the sheer extent and vastness of the Snowden leaks are beyond belief, and with almost 2 million files out there in circulation, could span numerous hours worth of explanations on their own. However, out of all these 2 million documents, there was one that was well and truly unbelievable. It did get some media attention when it was found, but not much, and was, ultimately, forgotten about. I'm going to show you this document now.
Okay.
This is the first page of an 82-page document that's been colloquially nicknamed NSA Documents on Games and Virtual Worlds.
Oh boy.
As you can see, this document was given the security clearance of top secret, which means that for most of you, had you laid your eyes on this just a few years ago, you'd be spending a lot of time behind bars.
Or 6 feet under.
For those who are unaware of what a top secret security clearance pertains, in the United States, the Department of Defense has 3 clearly distinct categories of security clearance. Confidential, which is applied to information which could cause some damage to national security. Secret, which is applied to information which could cause serious damage to national security. And top secret, which is applied to information which could cause exceptionally grave damage to national security. Obtaining a top secret security clearance is incredibly difficult and can take many months just to obtain, with numerous background checks or situational qualifications required.
Like all bunch of
that's
a whole bunch of
yeah, sounds like it.
Only an estimated...
You have to be like clean as hell just to enter that.
And then even then it's like all redacted.
Yeah.
Like, almost all of it is redacted. So like, you probably can't even read what it is. You just hear it's like see the word "the" on the page.
Yeah, it's just blacked out and everything, which yeah, I don't know.
People.
Reminds me of Antarctica. There's like a I don't know what exactly it is. There's like a building out in Antarctica where it's like you need like security clearance. Like that's probably hard even for the president to get into for shit they have there. And there's like a bunch of crazy shit in there that's they do not want the world to know about. And if you know about it, you're most likely about to die. So yeah.
Oh, fun.
I think they revealed like 2 things there. Like there's like a key that can unlock any type of lock, and then there's like something that calls like some event or whatever. No, I don't know. No.
Or 0.2% of the American population is said to have had a top-secret security clearance. However, it should be noted that merely having obtained such a security clearance does not necessarily mean that said individual automatically has access to all the information within said clearance level, as such information is often still only provided on a strict need-to-know basis.
Right.
Bottom line is that prior to the Snowden leak, hardly anyone but very high-level American NSA, British GCHQ, and other Five Eyes intelligence operatives would have ever laid their eyes on this document. This was never meant to be seen.
Did you see that thing that said Star Wars?
Nah, no,
the
I didn't.
first page.
I'm glad you told me that, but okay.
Reads, get in the game with target development for World of Warcraft online gaming. Although online gaming may seem like an innocuous form of entertainment, when the basic features and capabilities are examined, it could potentially become a target-rich communication network. Online gaming represents a technology that is rapidly growing in popularity worldwide.
True.
World of Warcraft, WoW, is one with an impressive following of gaming enthusiasts, with over 10 million users
this is a real government
worldwide.
document.
Yeah.
The exact date when this document was made is unknown. However, it is believed
privacy, never heard of it. Like, Jesus Christ.
to have been produced sometime between 2007 and 2008, aka the Burning Crusade expansion. We know this not just from the comments throughout, but that it specifically mentions the 10 million subscriber mark, which was achieved around that time. Quite the difference from today, where I'd be surprised if WoW even had 10,000 subscribers, but besides the point.
Yeah. Like, how hard did WoW fall off?
They don't report the sub numbers anymore.
Okay, that's enough.
Probably wondering why American intelligence agencies are writing documents about World of Warcraft. Well, after 9/11, it goes without saying that the American government and its subordinate intelligence agencies
Yeah, you're gonna make the New Yorkers that watch this sad, okay?
became most paranoid. During this time, online video games were still mostly considered to be a novelty for the youth. However, as people from the millennial generation who had grown up with online games started to join such agencies, it seems that the revelation that video games could be used for potential criminal activity seemingly startled them, as they had not yet understood, or even thought, that video games could even be used for such nefarious means,
Oh boy.
leading them to investigate further.
Yep, there's a lot of crazy people can use video games to like commit crimes and stuff. Like, what's a good example? I can't think of a good example off the top of my head.
Selling drugs is one of them.
Yeah, that's one. I'm talking about like which games and everything too. I can't remember. I don't know.
MMOs are the best for it probably because you are in like a giant world, and like as long as you're using like something like say chat or something that everyone can see.
Yeah, that reminds me. There was a time where I was playing Minecraft whenever I was still in middle school, and like some dude was asking for people's addresses, and some of them were actually giving them out on there.
What the?
Exactly. It was
Why?
Just, I don't know. They were just, and they're just putting it in the chat for everyone to see. I'm like talking, and they're like, "Dude, you really shouldn't do that," and they're just not listening and everything. It's like, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's no.
This slide shows that the NSA analysed numerous different video game genres, from first-person shooters, educational games, simulations, mixed or alternate realities, MMOs, and strategy games, and gave them a traffic light grade based on how effective they would be in numerous key areas for criminals to take advantage of. As you can see, all genres had some flaws, except for the MMO, which was seemingly a perfect attack vector for criminal activity. Thus, WoW being by far the most popular MMO.
Well, yeah, you're right. MMO, open world. That's there you go.
Of the time,
it's just
would
a lot of text, so it's just easier to.
Yeah.
The NSA had three main fears when it came to video games and their potential: communication, propaganda, and recruitment. Throughout this, I'm going to tell you how the NSA planned
propaganda? I don't know why, but that just sounds like a skill issue.
Bro, there is so many. You would be surprised, even to this day. There is a thing called trade chat, and if you're in a main city, people are in trade chat talking about politics.
Oh.
All the time.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, never mind then. Ugh.
Deal with such fears and how you may have been affected by them. Starting with communication. Let's read. WoW may be providing SIGINT targets a way to hide in plain sight. Targets have been spotted receiving no reply emails from gaming providers, and GCHQ analysts have correlated known SIGINT targets to online gaming events. The new Mission Development Center at MHS, the Global Network Exploitation and the Applied Research Special Topics Organization at GCHQ, are working together to filter the FornSat survey environment for this traffic and extract various types of WoW metadata for SIGINT development and network knowledge enrichment.
Can you imagine how much work that is?
Yeah.
Just looking at all
10 million people.
Yeah, and then there's also just the amount of goddamn acronyms for like you got the center and then you got this thing and this and it's just tell me the government isn't bloated without telling me the government isn't bloating. Like Jesus Christ.
That's quite a mouthful. Let's break it down. SIGINT means signals intelligence, essentially the art of intercepting signals and, if necessary, decrypting them to reveal their message. Whereas the United States has PRISM, here in the United Kingdom we have Echelon, which has been described as a global network of electronic spy stations that can eavesdrop on telephones, faxes, and computers. It can even track bank accounts. This information is stored in Echelon computers, which can keep millions of records on individuals. Officially, however, Echelon doesn't exist. Echelon's collection of satellite data is referred to internally as FornSat, which is an abbreviation for Foreign Satellite Collection. Essentially, it seems that sometime in 2007, GCHQ found that an unidentified person of interest, or a group of them, was playing World of Warcraft, and actively infiltrated Blizzard's servers in order to sniff out such targets, as confirmed by the following paragraphs. Communication is at the core of online gaming, and in WoW there are many ways to communicate and interact in the virtual world. A player has a character ID and can join different groups.
That some intern or whatever that was like, guys, online gaming is a really good way for criminals, so we should investigate this. He just wanted to play WoW. And he's like using it as, oh, I'm investigating, don't worry, I'm an undercover agent in this group of people.
Only for it to turn into, wow, this is actually a really good thing to investigate and everything. Yeah.
Like honestly, there's probably a lot of illegal shit still goes on today.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In that game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, hell, how many kids get groomed on games nowadays? Like just usually on like Minecraft.
RuneScape, Roblox, Fortnite.
People still play RuneScape? Jesus.
Oh yeah.
But Fortnite especially, because Jesus, all them Fortnite girlfriends, man.
GCHQ recently...
They were not girlfriends.
No, they were not.
They were Discord mods living in their mother's basements. Yep.
Hell yeah.
Crazy, ugly bastard, underdeveloped cum shot piece of shit.
Fucking.
Their whole existence, their whole appearance is rivaling Ricky Berwick.
Asked MHS's new Mission Development Center to support an online gaming research effort focusing on WoW. Eager to assist in a new potential area of target development, the NMDC discussed metadata needs with GCHQ in order to enable WoW target and network research in the FornSat area. The NMDC engaged Snort, an open source packet sniffing software, which runs on all Fawnsat survey packet data.
Watch them come up with like a goddamn government organization or whatever, where it's where its acronym just ends up being porn. It's gonna happen one day.
Bro, we already have Doge, which is literally a meme.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Bro, isn't there like a university called Cunny too? Which is...
Yeah, that's the...
And then there another one called Futa as well. Oh, man. It's crazy, man.
Filter cut WoW packets.
It's only a matter of time till we get all kinds of acronyms. I hope one day, like, since Elon Musk is helping with the government, I hope he makes like a bunch of thing that just a bunch of acronyms and just form it into like a giant sentence that just ends up being a meme or something.
That'd be so stupid.
I hope he does it, because as dumb as it is, I mean, it makes sense for him to do it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
GCHQ provided several WoW protocols.
Why don't it just be like the password to like his WoW account or something?
Parsing scripts to process the traffic and produce Warcraft metadata. By fusing information from different systems, databases, and resources, GCHQ has correlated target entities to WoW login.
I haven't done anything crazy in a bit. There you go.
Events, and continues to uncover potential SIGINT value by identifying accounts.
I'm not even gonna check it. I just slammed on my desk and it's just on the floor. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Characters and guilds related to Islamic extremist groups, nuclear proliferation, and arms dealing. But wait a minute. Islamic extremist groups, nuclear proliferation, and arms dealing? In World of Warcraft? Surely this must be an over-paranoid exaggeration.
Crazy.
No.
Well, actually...
I mean, you can't communicate on there.
Yeah, people did it.
Yep. And it's even easier now, too, because, you know...
I knew people that committed wire fraud.
Jesus.
And they talked about it openly.
Yeah. I know, you can't even do it on more than just World of Warcraft. Like, you know how you have, like, direct messaging on, like, Twitter and stuff? You can just do it from there.
Yeah. Although... Probably a bad idea.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe not.
How you have text now. I remember someone sending me a message randomly being like, you want drugs, shrooms, X, what you want? And I'm just like, who is this? They got the wrong number.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
They're like, well, time to get another burner phone.
Yep.
When people are asked to imagine where they think criminal activity takes place online, they will typically respond with the deep web.
Yeah, that also reminded me. I got another message out of nowhere whenever I was in middle school, and it was some guy asking me like, "How'd you have fun with my wife last night? You want to have another go again? It costs this much." And I'm just like, "Sir, I'm literally getting off the bus at school right now."
Sir, I'm like 11.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't really need to hear about, your cuck fetish while I'm walking into school. Like, just...
Jesus Christ.
Okay. And just...
That's so crazy.
And he's making a bag off of it, too. So it's just, I
hope the wife wanted it, too.
One would hope. I don't know. Then again, it's just... I don't know.
A hidden series of servers.
I hate NTR, man, alright? I hate it.
Noob just said you should have paid. What the What?
Like I had money whenever I was in middle school.
Ain't no way.
Yeah. And like they were about to do that with a minor at the time. Like, Jesus.
Exists seemingly independently from the rest of the internet.
But that's what I get for having an Apple phone. So, yeah.
That can only be accessed using certain...
Now, I went to... Well, I'm not on Android right now. Now I'm on Google Pixel, but it's pretty much just a better Android, so yeah.
Software. For example, if we were to load up my super secure virtual machine on my super secure private operating system with my super secure private browser, we can see that someone here is trying to sell a weapon of mass destruction for some Bitcoin. Now, the criminal behind this might think that they're being smart by conducting such an illicit transaction in this way.
But no.
After all, in their mind, the payment could be transferred and untraceable via cryptocurrency, and they would never get caught, as they're using the deep web's criminally hosted servers as to avoid identification. But the reality, of course, is anything but. You see, by merely using the deep web in the first place, this gentleman has already placed a target on himself. As let's face it, nobody uses the deep web for anything other than criminal activity.
True.
Should an intelligence agency...
There's a lot of bad shit that goes on in the... Well, he said the deep web. It's even worse than the dark web. No.
It's the same thing.
Well, no, the dark web's a lot more darker. The deep web is more like just, like kind of just like the black market type of thing. The dark web is whenever it gets even worse to like, human trafficking and stuff
like that.
Yeah. Human trafficking, stuff like that. CP, all kinds of illegal shit for there. Even red rooms too, if you even know what the hell that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Successfully
the deep web is pretty much just softcore dark web, so yeah.
To infiltrate a deep web server, which is something that happens all the time, then they will have access to numerous different signals intelligence that will lead back to a huge number of potential criminals. B. Yes, Mr. Hexagon.
Hello.
Infiltrate this server, please. At once, Mr. Hexagon.
And then done. There you go.
Wonderful. As we can see, this gentleman's IP address is now exposed, meaning that all intelligence agencies have to do is correlate customer information with said ISP, and he's in the bag.
Yep.
Mr. Hexagon, we have a problem. IP address is from a known VPN. Oh no!
It's
the target
sponsored.
has shielded his IP address from
I don't think it is.
via using a virtual private network.
Oh.
Who cares?
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this production, then the chances are that you also watch a ton of videos online. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you seen a video that's been directly sponsored via VPN?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
And it seems like ever since around 2017 and onwards, every content creator and their mum is being sponsored by them.
Yeah.
But how? I mean, VPNs aren't exactly a lucrative business. Where do these firms get all their money to splash in mere marketing alone? Well, admittedly, and this is just a thought of mine, but I strongly believe that a large number of VPN firms are either directly or indirectly ran by intelligence agencies.
Ooh.
Why?
That actually makes sense. It's like, we're going to give you this thing to help you with your privacy. It gives you a direct link to everything you have. Pretty much,
yeah.
Like Jesus, I don't know why I didn't come to that conclusion sooner.
It could be. It could be. It's just a theory,
it's definitely
right?
it's definitely happening. Like, I know it's a theory, but it's definitely happening. Like, this is just this is like OJ. He proved it.
And even if it isn't, there's they have to. Like, if the company's being ran in the U.S. or whatever, they probably...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're like, hey, can you give us their information, please?
Yeah, like they...
Otherwise, you can't operate here.
Yeah, like they technically have, like, a little blackmail, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about it. VPN technology makes it quite a bit more difficult for intelligence agencies to undergo SIGINT. However, the technology isn't ever going to go anywhere, and simply making its use illegal, shockingly, isn't going to deter criminals from using it.
True.
So, by simply operating the VPNs from in the shadows, they can create a false illusion of security for such criminals, which can then be used against them. Again, just a thought of mine, but either way. The ultimate point here is that for online criminals, by trying to mask their activities via the use of technology such as the deep web and possibly VPNs, they inadvertently make themselves even more of a target. However, should such criminals do their business in a place whereby nobody would expect, such as a video game, then they simply blend in with the rest of the environment with no suspicion. Essentially, they are hips, hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yep.
WoW certainly provides entertainment for a large number of people worldwide.
We got some big hips out there.
But it's gaming...
Big hips. Big, juicy, voluptuous, feminine hips. I don't know where I'm going with this. Well, actually, we do. Yeah.
Format can provide a virtual organizational platform for potential SIGINT targets as well. Furthermore, this technology can assist the target and simultaneously assist the SIGINT community in tracking that target. The WoW gaming infrastructure provides ample information for network development through the data passed through WoW messages, such as country and time zone information, local IP addresses, and realm server addresses. In terms of active target development, there are clear parallels. Traditional SIGINT development may follow emails, chat, and buddy lists, whereas WoW target development may follow character IDs and logins, gaming communication channels, and guilds. MHS and GCHQ will continue to develop and collaborate on this potentially lucrative venue.
God, I hate the amount of
a question I have to ask is, why is it that we now live in such a low-trust society that our intelligence agencies have actually...
Yeah, I can only imagine why. I can't...
Oh, I wonder what happened, guys.
Yeah, I wonder.
...become so paranoid that they went looking for Bin Laden in Gnomeregon. Wouldn't it instead be wise to reflect on how we ended up in this nightmare situation in the first place? As opposed to, you know, spying on everything that moves? Yeah. Of course it would. Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, our nations are ran by idiots.
Oh yeah, definitely. We know.
Essentially, much like how the NSA harvested unsuspecting customers' information from corporations via the PRISM program, it seems they also not just planned, but actively did, infiltrate Blizzard's servers. Not just to look for specific targets, but to also actively collect metadata on every single World of Warcraft player. Which essentially means that anything you've ever said while in Azeroth, even as far back as over a decade ago, could be stored on an agency's server somewhere, with the potential to be easily tracked back to you. Now, with all due respect to the NSA, if you're going to bother looking for terrorists on World of Warcraft, aka looking for a needle in a haystack, then you should, at the very least, actually make yourselves useful while you're here, and instead, I don't know, deal with the army of perverted groomers that have been operating shamelessly out in the open within the Goldshire Inn.
Yeah, you, like, I get finding Bin Laden was good and everything, but, you know, you could do a lot more good getting these guys out, too.
Get the groomers out, bro. They're disgusting.
Like, yeah, for real, like, Jesus Christ.
Plaguing our...
We have the power to do it, but we're not going to.
Yep, there's furries in this game, by the way. Just forewarning.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Thanks for giving me another reason to never play this, by the way.
Beloved roleplay servers for years.
He says while doing a collab with someone with furry cat ears on. I don't consider that furry if it's just that, though.
Yeah. But regardless, if you think that's weird, wait until we get on to propaganda.
Oh boy.
Back in the early days of WoW, Machinimas used to be a massive deal. Those of you who have played the game for a long time may remember gems such as Illegal Danish, Snacky's Journal, or my personal favourite, Of Time Gnomes.
What?
In the year 2022,
this is such a bad one.
Holy expansion pack.
Jesus
this was
Christ,
made before...
For those...
This was made before YouTube.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Those who don't know, Machinimas were essentially in-game movies, acted out with characters, a story, etc, etc. There's still many made today, but nowhere near as much as there used to be. I've made a few Machinimas myself, and they're always a lot of fun to make. The sheer amount of zones, models, and armor in WoW makes it an almost perfect game for such creative endeavors. Which, according to the NSA, also made it a threat. As bizarre as this may sound, the NSA was seemingly obsessed with Machinimas, with their documents meticulously detailing not just what they are, but also how they're made.
Why?
Even name-dropping a popular piece of recording software at the time known as Fraps. In their words,
hell yeah.
Gaming can serve as a platform for propaganda video.
Did you know what Fraps was?
No, I don't.
Okay, have you ever seen a video where it has a, like, yellow number in the top left or top right?
Oh, wait, no, I thought you were saying something. No, I thought... No, not in that. Not like that, no. I thought you were talking about...
Fraps.
Okay, I thought you were... Okay. I thought you were talking about the one they had with the porn ones where they have a link at the top.
No.
Because that is a thing.
But yeah, Fraps was like what people used before OBS and all this, all the like news stuff existed.
Okay, gotcha.
Example, Machinima is filmmaking within the real-time free...
I don't know why, but Fraps sounds like just a mean-ass fart.
the virtual environment of a video game. All that is required is a game and a desktop computer. Terrorists could easily exploit this technology. Through the use of virtual characters and audio mashups, a terrorist could anonymously create machinima films that included speeches, updates, and briefings. Additionally, one could use machinimas to create a likable militant hero with whom their target audience could identify. The NSA actually believed that Al-Qaeda was going to use World of Warcraft and other MMOs to create pro-jihadi machinimas. They even went so far as to express concern about the huge increase in GPU capabilities during the 2000s, citing that such increased realism may potentially make such propaganda even more effective. Now, I don't know about you chaps, but in all my time playing World of Warcraft, I have never come across any of Bin Laden's machinimas. However, as humorous as it may sound, at the end of the day, it is an intelligent...
I don't know why, it reminded me back whenever there was like some terrorist propaganda videos on YouTube. And do you ever...
There still is.
Oh. Well, probably not as, like, back whenever it caused like the adpocalypse and everything, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, because they had some running as like actual ads on videos, you know?
Yeah, you can get Coca-Cola on a terrorist propaganda.
No, I mean
ad,
like the terrorist propaganda was the ads. Like I was watching it like once, like I don't know why, but whenever I got back from middle school one day, I was taking a shit watching a video and it was showing like a Death to America propaganda ad like right before the vid.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
why the hell is this an ad? And why are you showing me this? And I was like, I don't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was just it was crazy.
Agency's job to identify...
And I'm just like, you know, it makes sense why there was an apocalypse now.
Yeah, other than PewDiePie, like,
yeah, you know,
I don't think he triggered it. I think it's just
no
all that other stuff when that has to happen at the same time.
Yeah. Then again, the main terrorist propaganda is just watching a Hassan Piker stream now.
Yeah.
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 By all possible attack vectors,
or anyone in his group, because Jesus.
Such as this.
It's all bad.
Even if, ultimately, they may sound ridiculous. So, as odd as it may sound...
Are you gonna get banned because I just talked about Hassan?
No, I don't think so.
I would hope not.
It is understandable that they would be at least somewhat concerned about such possibilities. However, what is truly baffling is how they plan to counter such potential propaganda. Countering in-game propaganda. Countering extremist propaganda in the game space can be achieved in part by being an active game player. Establishing an in-game presence allows for virtual interfacing, information exchanges, and developing influential relationships with both adversaries.
The guy just wanted to play the game.
Yeah. That's... Yeah, which, I mean, I guess in some way works, because if I'm just trying to play the game, I don't want to hear about your politics and everything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I hear, like if I'm playing a game or whatever and I hear someone getting knee deep into like politics and everything, I am literally going to yell at the top of my lungs telling him to shut the f up. Because like I ain't here to listen to your goddamn propaganda, politics, and hoopla bullshit, alright? I'm not. Like, that's another fear I had. That's kind of a fear I had. Like, I'm fear like I'm gonna get into like some like big collab one day, and then someone's gonna start bringing.
And all of a sudden,
someone's gonna start bringing politics up, whatever, and I am just going to scream over everyone, telling him to shut the f up, and then just start hammering into him, and then it's just gonna become all awkward and everything, you know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like
that's probably what would happen.
Yeah, like, the moment they bring up anything political like that, I just feel like that's what's gonna happen. Yeah. He said, as we watch a political video, well, like, it's not really getting too... Well, while it's involving...
It's centered around the game.
Yeah, it's around the game.
It's centered around the game.
And it's not telling us, like, which side's which or whatever. Because if it's just bringing it up and not taking a side, just stating facts or whatever, then it's fine, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just whenever they start taking a say, they're like, oh, I hate so-and-so or whatever. And it's just, I'm just like, shut the f*** up!
Yeah. No one cares.
Yeah. Yeah, watch. There's going to be someone talking about Trump. That's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And allies. In-game interaction also
like, what else do you hear? Because I'm tired of hearing that. Because I'm just like, I don't care for it. The moment I hear anyone talking anything involved in it, I'm just like, shut up. The only reason I use Trump as an example is because, like, what better example is there? What do you think they insult the most?
The most hated on person in the world right now, probably.
Probably.
But at the same time, like, I don't know, bro. I have I have so much of just like, I don't care.
Exactly.
I'm here to entertain.
We're here to play
games. No one wants to hear about that whenever they're watching YouTube.
Yeah, we're
doing like, Twitch.
Exactly. Like, we're watching YouTubes, we're doing a collab, we're playing games or something. I don't want to hear about your goddamn politics and shit.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Help shape real-life attitudes and perceptions. That's right, folks. You know that one guy in your guild who just wouldn't stop asking questions all the time?
No.
I'm just saying. Honestly, at first,
I wouldn't put the Giga Chat as the FBI then.
To me,
that in itself seems like propaganda.
Seemed like some guy at the NSA who was addicted to WoW at the time, desperately trying to come up with ways he could make his bosses think that him leveling up his gnome mage at work was actually a good idea. But it gets weirder.
Oh boy.
In-game assets might form partnerships with celebrity avatars. Establishing an in-game presence would enable identification of players, their guilds, and other common interest groups. These relationships can be exploited to facilitate viral message spread or in-game dialogue for counter-propaganda purposes.
They sure can.
Wow.
And
now, before you all start freaking out that your favourite streamers and creators are all secretly on the federal payroll, remember that this document was written...
Some of them were on the USA payroll.
You know what's funny?
What?
His Asmon worked at the IRS.
Did he really?
Yes. So the thing was,
oh no,
it's like he's like, oh, he's a Fed,
and he totally reacted to this, didn't he?
Oh, 100%.
Oh god, that must have been a funny moment.
Oh, it was. Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah. It's like, oh, they could spread, and then he's like,
even more so since he's into politics now too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy how that went.
Over a decade and a half ago. But besides the point, the fact that the NSA actually considered going into WoW with the sole purpose to manipulate innocent civilians with bizarre psychological operations is beyond unbelievable. But here it is, in black and white.
Yep.
But again, all of that is nothing compared to recruitment.
Oh boy.
The NSA strongly believed that terrorist groups could potentially use video games for recruitment purposes. Now, why the hell Al-Qaeda...
I'll be honest, I don't think it'd go too well, honestly. And they tried to recruit it. I was like, you want to join our terrorist group? And I'm like, dude, we're just trying to play a game. We're just trying to go do this raid boss.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah.
However, a lot of people that play these games have nothing to do with their life.
Fair enough.
So they... Yeah.
So let me throw it away and become a terrorist. Jesus Christ. That's...
I mean, some people just need direction. That's the sad truth.
Yeah, sadly. Just... Christ.
Want a bunch of World of Warcraft players under their belt? I don't know. However, in all likelihood, this logic might have been a matter of projection. If I told you to think of a first-person shooter, I'm sure there's many that you could name. But in the early 2000s, there was an FPS juggernaut that not many people know about, known as America's Army.
Oh.
Now, despite looking like a typical FPS, what makes America's Army so peculiar is not necessarily the game itself, but
developer.
who made it. The actual US Army itself. America's Army came out in 2002.
Welcome to propaganda, the video game.
And despite being a fledged AAA experience, was available for download completely for free. Now, this might not seem unusual by today's standards, with free-to-play games being all over the place, but back then, this was almost unheard of. But why, exactly? Why would the American government choose to finance an FPS game of all things, and deliver it out for free? I mean, for Christ's sake, this is a country that fights tooth and nail as to not give its own people healthcare, so if they're giving away something for free, there just has to be a catch. And, yeah, the catch was, it was a recruitment tool.
Yep.
Online gaming can serve as a recruitment tool. 28% of players log in.
The sad thing is that it probably works, because I remember a lot of kids playing Call of Duty and they actually went into like the military and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, how long they lasted in there, I don't know. Because,
knows?
I was curious to know how people who grew up playing Call of Duty and get angry at everything would last in there. Because, well, one of the things about going into military is learning discipline. And, they need discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
but this is an insane stat, by the way. 28% of people that got the online game also visited the corresponding recruitment site.
Jesus. Like,
that's 1 in 4 people.
Yeah, that's slightly over that. Yeah. Like, Jesus. It worked, man. It worked, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know.
On to play its
the only difference is that it usually works more so in a fantasy thing. Like, you know how much like how badly I'd be out there being a Pokemon trainer. Pokemon was real,
America's Army Online game also visited the corresponding recruitment site. But, hey, that's not exactly surprising news. I mean, come on, a free game created by the American government that's a military simulator. I mean, it's not exactly like they're trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. If they were trying to use
I respect if they're just being straight up with it, though. I'll give it that.
Party games as subtle propaganda, well then, we'd have a problem. Mr. Hexagon. Yes, B. They were doing that.
Yeah.
What?
The what?
There's someone watching me.
What happened? I didn't hear that right. What did I say?
Go back.
Well then, we'd have a problem.
Go back again.
Oh.
Mr. Hexagon. Not exactly like they're trying to hide it. Now, if they were trying to use third-party games as subtle propaganda, well then, we'd have a problem.
Oh.
Mr. Hexagon. Yes, B. They were doing that. What?
There's someone watching me. I can tell.
Another opportunity to focus IC counter-terrorism efforts in the game space is new or modified game development to compete with extremist groups operating in the game space. Working with commercial partners, students, and others in the game space to develop a competitive game and attract the target audience would aid this effort. Market research could provide valuable insights into the interests and habits of game players from a particular target audience. Using focus groups throughout the game production cycle would also help to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the story, graphics, and gameplay. Student groups could also fuel new game development. Many colleges and universities now host programs that focus on game design and production. Asset-sponsored scholarships and incentives could be used to encourage students to develop appropriately themed games. That's right, the NSA was planning to actively infiltrate the entire gaming industry and create games with the specific purpose of being propaganda, in order to sway how their players fought.
What did that say?
It said Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah. Well, the gaming industry has been infiltrated, though.
Yeah, but not by
It's been
not by the NSA, maybe.
It's been invaded by political activism that nobody gives a about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jesus Christ, dude. Which thankfully has been fought back against like crazy, and they're losing.
Yeah, like
they are losing heavily.
Like the thing is if you're gonna have like a trans character, no one gives a.
Yeah, quit making that their whole personality. No one cares.
Yeah.
Like people don't actually care if there's like a woman, a black person, or a trans or whatever. But they care about it whenever they've revolved the whole story around that. They give them nothing else. And then they also just try to...
their entire personality is just what that one character trait.
And then just, also fill it up with whatever other political activist bullshit they got to. All the woke shit, everything. It's just... yeah.
Not a great time.
Yeah. So it's the same thing why a lot of movies are failing. Like, do you see that new Fantastic Four movie that's coming out and how it's already been ruined?
No.
Yeah, they're making another Fantastic Four movie for the MCU, and apparently the Human Torch is now going to be a male feminist, and Sue Storm is going to be focusing on gender identity politics. And I'm just like, will they ever learn? Will they learn?
Why?
Bruh, like the Disney CEO has been bitching and moaning about how all of his projects have been failing, and they're not and it's like, motherfucker, this is why. Take all these DEI hires and fire them.
Eventually, I feel like the money will speak, right? Because people are going to stop watching them.
Oh, the money won't speak. The lack of money will speak.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. If it'll even do that, because apparently sometimes bankrupt still and poor and having no money sometimes ain't enough. I'm just like, what the? And just like
they're just like, I'm gonna make my movie, goddamn.
Yeah, no one's gonna like it. Yeah, Snow White says what? Yeah, nice job.
About real-life geopolitical events. Needless to say, video games, especially MMOs, were taken very seriously by such agencies. I haven't even delved into how they meticulously converted the value of the top MMOs in-game currencies into real-life currencies, or how they did deep dives into the psychological effects that games have on their players, or the eerily accurate predictions on the rising prominence that mobile gaming would have on the industry in the years that followed. At the time of recording, this document has been in open circulation for over 8 years. What it contains and the methodologies used have almost certainly changed since it was leaked, as otherwise I wouldn't have felt comfortable even mentioning it. But the point still stands. When the general public think of their intelligence agencies, they think of very smart people working hard behind the scenes to keep us safe.
I don't.
Yeah. Intelligent, huh?
I think of some very, very incompetent motherfuckers.
And very sick motherfuckers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and that's
anyone that's comfortable with seeing that much like horrible stuff
no
has got to have something wrong with them.
Yeah, like we need to bring back these islands, man. Ronald Reagan was a good president, but that finding out that he was the reason why these islands are gone pissed me off.
Yeah.
Borderline everything here has nothing to do with keeping people safe, but is simply flat-out surveillance and even psychological manipulation. I mean, let's go over everything we've learned here. 1. GCHQ actively collected World of Warcraft metadata without Blizzard or their customers' knowledge. 2. The NSA planned to send agents into games to spread in-game counter-propaganda to players. 3. The NSA planned to specifically form relations with highly influential players within said games to exploit them. And 4. The NSA planned to actively manipulate the gaming industry to facilitate game development at large. I mean, Jesus Christ. People play video games, especially MMOs, as an escape from reality. A place whereby they can just zone out and immerse themselves within a fantasy world.
And the government's just gotta come in and up everything, just...
Yep.
I swear to God, they're like... The government is like Tomura Shigaraki. They destroy everything they touch.
Yeah.
And yet, what this document proves is that even within video games, no one is safe from the surveillance and psychological manipulations of their so-called free world governments.
Free world, huh?
So, this is probably the part where you're expecting me to say, hey, don't worry, I was just making it all up.
Nope.
But
that's true, bro.
Sorry. Everything
I would hope, but I mean, you've been kind of showing us the documents, like the whole damn video, so, yeah.
I've read throughout this production has been 100% legitimate, and I challenge you to do your own research and see for yourself. You all wanted a creepypasta, but guess what? You've been living in one this whole time.
Yep.
Sadly, however, it's not a murder thriller, but a dystopian society that's in denial. I mean, forget Edward Snowden a moment. Why is it that Julian Assange, a man whose only crime was revealing corruption within the US military, was forced to live in an Ecuadorian embassy for almost a decade? Meanwhile, politicians like Hillary Clinton can go on mainstream media and psychotically laugh at murdering other heads of state.
We came, we saw, he died.
Most people are, still to this day, ignorant of the specific details in how their lives are being immorally surveilled and manipulated. And sadly, as most Westerners are so demotivated, distracted, and atomized, they simply just accept such a scenario, rather than actually doing anything about it.
Christ.
I imagine that had these leaks came out in the early 2020s as opposed to the early 2010s, due to the current heightened distrust in our governments, perhaps they would have been more effective. But nevertheless, I hope that this production helps open one's eyes into learning the cold hard truth about how our governments really operate. Because ladies and gentlemen, people can only bury their heads in the sand for so long. But the facts are that the way people think our society works and the way that it actually works are clearly two very different things. And frankly, it's time for people to wake up and get smart. Because at this rate, things are only going to get much, much worse. Recently, the US Department of Homeland Security announced that it will create a new disinformation governance board. Let me ask you, dear viewer, after everything I've shown you here today, would anyone seriously trust the American government to tell you the truth?
No.
Because the way I see it is,
of course not.
If they were planning to do this to us back then what are they actually doing to us?
Exactly. If anything, you should just... Anything they put on that disinformation board should just be looked at with, like, a huge grain of salt. If anything, they'd probably just call it... If anything, it should just be called the truth board. It's kind of like that meme I've been seeing. The difference between a conspiracy and the truth is time. I've been seeing that as a meme.
Now.
That was a really good video, though. Very, very informative and everything. Like, damn.
Extremely.
Yeah. Christ. And, well...
It's so crazy that they... That they're like, let's investigate video games, and it makes sense to a point, but then they don't go after the actual like rampant problems in there. They went after like looking for Osama bin Laden and like terrorist groups and stuff.
Which I mean that's still a good thing as well, but you know, then they went on to do more. Like they've overstayed their welcome, and now they're abusing their power. Like just. Man, you don't hate the government enough, man.
Nope.
Jesus. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you did, check out the original video, which will be linked in the description below, and don't forget to go support Hexagon. He'll also be linked in the description below for making this video. Also, go check out my buddy Jerry for showing me this video. He'll be linked in the description as well. Yeah, all of them go link in the description. Go support them, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on this video as well. Have a good day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.